And good morning and welcome to the most electrifying show in sports entertainment. 2 hours of sports excellence right here on Worthy Road Studios and the BallGame Blitz Network on YouTube. We are experimenting a little bit with having Facebook, and hopefully after this week we will have not only the YouTube you can watch, but it'll be on Facebook and help some of you folks that have given us text and things too. And you can see our text number up there. It'll give you some help with getting it much easier because the show is in demand. People are wanting to hear it. I got wore out at Umpy's the 2 days that I ate. I had to take a day's vacation. But we've got a lot of things to talk about. Bill Hamilton, Jimmy Butler's here. We'll have some great guests today. Bud Young will lead it off as usual, and he's hotter than a $2 pistol about UT stuff. He's got some high school scores, his prediction. Then the man with the best name in football, Joey Magnifico, will be with us. He's now an assistant coach at the University of Memphis, former collegiate player, high school coach, and he coached at his own St. Benedict High School, and we've got a lot to ask Joey. Sean Sparks will not be with us today. Moving up in the lineup, though, to hit in the 940 slot will be the Diamond One. Dave McCulley will be here, Bethel's SID Assistant Athletic Director, and the voice, the real voice of the TCA Lions. He will be with us, and he will be great as always. Matthew Coble, who had a great season, had a close but unfortunate loss last night to a pretty good basketball team, Middle Tennessee Christian. We'll talk about that. We'll talk with him at 10 o'clock. Chris Streese, the former cornerback under Johnny Majors, who's one of the founders of the VFL, the Vols Legend camps. He'll be with us to talk football and about those camps. And then a very special guest, Greg Armour. And we'll tell you what's special about Greg in a little bit, but you want to hear this. This is a great story, 35 years worth of story. We're going to condense it into an interview on this show. Jeff Jones, the USJ basketball coach and a former college coach, he will be with us. Dave was going to come on after him, but we've moved Dave into that slot. We'll talk about Union as they've got games on the BallGame Blitz and on their Facebook today. They play at 1, both baseball and softball, weather permitting. And the softball now will be at USJ's field. But, again, if you don't want to sit in the rain, you don't want to sit in the elements, you got the greatest camera work, pictures, and description of the game coming to you at 1 o'clock on the Union Facebook and Worthy Road Studios and the BallGame Blitz. Those things and more. But without further ado, the Butler always does it, and he's going to get you up to date on girls' scores and some boys' scores played in tournaments last night.
All right, Joe. Like I said, last night in regional quarterfinal action, Chester County gets a 71-39 win over Liberty. That puts Chester County at 16-14, 16-13 on the year. Southside with a 61-12 win over Hardin County. The Lady Hawks go to 28-0. McNary gets a 56-21 win over Northside. McNary now sits at 21-7. South Gibson with a 57-36 win over Lexington. South Gibson, the Lady Pioneers are at Lady Hornets, are at 23-8. Crockett County in a close game, 43-41 over Ripley. The Lady Cavaliers are 24-6. And as Joe mentioned, Middle Tennessee Christian defeated TCA last night 62-58. That was in state quarterfinal action in Division II. Had 3 boys regional quarterfinals last night. Peabody gets a 64-48 win over Bradford. Humboldt gets a 78-46 win over Greenfield. And a team that we hadn't heard a lot about this year, but they must be pretty good. The Middleton Tigers get a 73-24 win over South Fulton. Middleton now 24-1 on this season. They've had some great men's basketball teams at Middleton, but this one should be, at 24-1. That's a pretty good season in high school basketball.
James Berkeley, who played down there and played at Delta State, Bill. Remember, you and I talked to James about that one night.
Yeah, Joe, if you think about it, at one of the Hall of Fame banquets, one of the Boston Celtics that came and Bailey Howell played at Mississippi State, was our speaker. But it goes back to Hamer and all the other great athletes. It's just and the University of Memphis.
Bobby Parks.
Yes. And, Joe, we talk about a lot of things, but I've got to mention 2 things. And they were, I'm going to call them legends or continuation, and that is during this week we've had TCA has had 2 different times. I call him a legend. He's a friend, and that's Blake Butler. 12 years of superior coaching, leadership, guidance. He felt the Lord was leading him. He'll be the ECS head coach in Memphis. And last night was really a sad. Kristen Gehring, Lee's daughter. It was 3 consecutive All-State players at TCA. Olivia gave it all she had, and I've got to ask you, as a part to that, is this Webb scenario that I hear a lot about on the streets. Can we stop it, Joe? Because in the horizon, whoever gets Webb is getting a college team to play against.
Well, you got out-of-country girls. You've got out-of-state girls. New York City provided some of them. And then, like I said, several from out of country. And I think they're going to have to either move them up to the top classification or create there's a couple of the schools, Brentwood Academy went for years without a quarterback that lived or was born, either one, in the state of Tennessee, including Kent Austin. You remember him?
Yeah.
And they had one guy that he just came to school for the school year and to go back to Georgia that played quarterback.
Well, it's almost like an IMG thing in Florida.
Yes,
That's all I hear right now.
And we don't need that in our state association.
I don't know how they're going to stop it. My granddaughter talking about she started practice at field hockey.
Yeah.
I've not even looked and seen what field hockey is. She's going to Franklin High School, and I'm trying to understand. It's a world that I don't know I'm ready for, and we're going to start some trivia, Joe. I know we're going to tease the people. I've got, I think, 2 good questions that, we've lost 2 great people in the last 2 weeks. I'm going to have a trivia question. I'm not going to give it to you, but I talked to the Pig Boys down on
the Pig
right
House,
behind. Yeah, the Pig House. Delightful group of guys, hardworking, great food, and they said, "Oh, absolutely, anything with the BallGame Blitz, we want to be working." So later in the show, we'll give you some trivia, tease you. You're not going to win this week, but you'll be prepared for next week.
This week is a warm-up week. We'll have trivia every week, and we may even have another group come in and provide some gifts, and both of them are great. They're not competitors with each other. Actually, they're probably very friendly with each other. One's an ex-tennis.
Yeah, they learn. They
one's
learn
an
from
ex-tennis
each other.
player.
Yeah, they learn from each other. But, Joe, it's a lot of sports going on, and I tell you, I talked to the folks in Ripley this week. They shut Haywood County down. In a kind of a surprise, in a big game. So a lot of basketball. Next week is the Vols are coming into town next Saturday, if I remember right.
They're coming in for the camp at Jackson Christian School. It's going to be a good one. You need to get your youngster enrolled in that. And, of course, we've got so many other things we haven't covered, and during the broadcast we'll give you some news. You've heard from Jimmy, and he's got you fixed up with the scores. Now, a man that had the opposite situation of Ripley and Haywood's great game is on the phone line with us, but he's full of UT stuff today.
Oh, I bet he is.
Especially since Sean Sparks had something come up that there was no way. Matter of fact, he texted me at it was about 1 or 1:15 in the morning. So
is this the Alabama alternate SID? Is that this gentleman?
No, this guy.
That's not him?
This guy, if you cut him, he bleeds orange, and you know what that means. This Bud's for you. It's Bud Young. And Bud, what in the world happened? Get Hardin County's situation out of the way. They fix and get the baseballs out, aren't they?
Oh, yeah, it's fixed to happen. The girls last night, I was afraid they'd get shut out, but the girls did score against Southside. They put up 12, and I didn't think you'd get that many.
But why wouldn't you just stall the ball? If you're going to get beat that bad, can you not dribble?
Somewhat. They somewhat can dribble, but Southside's got speed that we don't know nothing about. And their defenses is just, way above ours. That outstanding team, and Southside's a powerhouse. We just couldn't compete with them last night. I mean, the score reflects that.
And Bud, that's just opposite of 2 or 3 years ago when the Southside boys were a dominant team, and now it looks like Brent McNeil has the girls one of the elite teams in the state.
Exactly, and I think it might be a favorite to they'll go deep into the playoffs. And,
can you stop them, Bud? Can you really? Can somebody shut? What will be an answer to shut Southside girls out?
Somebody can match him up quick defense. I heard there's a couple teams in Middle and East Tennessee that might give them a run for the money, but we'll just see. Every game's played on the court. And, we beat our boys, beat Selmer, run them off the floor 2 games in a row, and then he got for the district championship, they run us off the floor. And so, I mean, any time the ball's put out there, things can change. I mean, coaching can change. I mean, some player might have a good night, 2 nights in a row, but Nate Moore from Selmer, we couldn't stop him. McNair County could not stop him. He's a handful. And it was they just Selmer won a good game, won an outstanding game. We had an off night, and I'm afraid that Northside's loaded too. We don't have. They got 6'7". Ain't their centers 6'7"?
Yeah, the Curry boys, one of them 6'7", the other one's over 6 foot, and both of those young men can play a lot. They've got 5 people that can play. We were very fortunate, and our kids played really well when we played an overtime game against them at Jackson Christian this year.
But Sacred Heart's got some good. Don't they have a talented center about 6'7" that moves with and without, in and out on the ball?
Yes, they're loaded too. But Northside, that's who Hardin County's got to. It's not a good task, is it, bud?
No, it isn't. I sat with the Northside coaches the other night at the Selmer game and sat there and talked with them, and I let them call and talk to you for a second, and they saying we got a lot of set shooters. And set shooters went out in the 60s.
Yeah, the Woods boys, and we'll have one or both of them on this show eventually. They're fine young men, and they're good basketball players. But there's fire, smoke, everything else. Vladimir Putin's been spotted on the UT campus trying to undermine things. What in the world is wrong in baseball and basketball?
Well, I'm telling you what. I've never seen such hypocrisy in my life. And I let Greg Sankey and Catherine Pohl get an earful. I promise you they know who I am, Yersky, because I said, what hypocrisy you have. You let somebody – I'm still looking at – did he bring this gun from Tennessee to Alabama? Did he transport this gun from Tennessee to Alabama and then give it to them people? That's another felony.
Yeah.
Supposedly it was not his gun. That's the story.
Well, he's the one to give it to
But
him,
he transported it, so he is guilty.
It might as well be his. When you bring a gun, give somebody. If he brought it across state line, irregardless, if he give a gun knowingly, why would you give somebody a gun at 1:30 in the morning? Name me a good situation. There ain't no target ranges open in Tuscaloosa, Alabama at 1:30 in the morning.
So you're telling me then that when I watched TV and watched him single-handedly beat South Carolina, without him, they get beat by 25, bud.
Exactly. They get beat at least 25. He had 43 out of 70 points or whatever they had, 72 points. He had 43 of them. There's no doubt he's an outstanding player. But was that girl's life not worth no more than that? And if the other stuff hadn't even happened, that's a travesty. That's a slap in the face of justice right there.
So how do you penalize him? You've already played the game, bud. And
I know that.
And so you're not going to – they're not going to do anything to him. I don't think anything.
But they suspended Tony Vitello.
Well, that's a different issue, Joe. That was making a phone call.
Yeah.
You got a gun and a death.
That's a big crime.
You got a gun and a death, and then you've got a series, in Arizona?
Yeah.
Or are they playing in Knoxville?
They're in Knoxville.
That's in Knoxville, okay. So so where is this? Is it just a money league? It's got dollar signs?
The money league. Dollar signs, nothing but dollar signs. The hypocrisies of Joe. How can you name me some way that you can give me how this is good? How could you bring him a gun? Name some way that this is favorable for him. And not only did he bring a gun and watch him murder that girl, he did not report it to the police. He went home and went to bed.
No, he didn't watch the murder, did he, bud?
Yes, he saw the murder.
According to some evidence, he has been linked to being there at the scene of the
crime.
So
why isn't he suspended, gentlemen? Why is he not suspended?
That's what he was trying to ask Greg Sankey yesterday.
I tried to find out from Greg Sankey that I left messages. I want to know why. I left him and Catherine Pohl both one. I want to know why is he not suspended, at least until the investigation's done. They've done nothing to him. Thank you, ma'am. Can I have another? That's all they've done.
And our poor old baseball coach makes a phone call and he gets in trouble.
To a player that's already committed to Tennessee and is already in school there. They just haven't released him to play ball. He makes a phone call and he gets suspended for a whole series. But
that's by the university, correct?
That's the
NCAA.
No, that's by the SEC. That's the SEC suspended him.
Okay, SEC.
With the
NCAA
blessing of the
NCAA.
NCAA. The NCAA done that.
Is that a self-reported violation? Did they self-report it?
Tennessee's trying to do what's right.
I understand, Joe, but you got differences in so you got a top 5 player in America. Just think about it. I don't care what school they play for.
Yep.
A top 5 goes to a visiting school and puts on a show, an absolute show, one of the best exhibition of basketball that I've seen this year by anybody.
He's probably the top conversation, top 3 or 4 players in America.
Absolutely,
He
first
can
round
flat
draft,
play.
first
You're right,
round draft choice, incredible. I mean, he shot one. My wife looked at it, thought it was shooting from Humboldt. I mean, he was so far outside, looked like a double NBA show. So how do you penalize it? You've already played the game, bud. So who's going to step up? Who's got the guts? Nobody.
That's it. Nobody.
Nobody's got the guts to do the right thing. And this looks bad. I told them if it don't matter what school, this looks bad for the whole SEC. It shows us it's nothing but a money grabber, a money conference, and not suspending him for nothing. And I want to know, not just this, why ain't the NCAA done nothing? I figured Ohio State or somebody like that raised enough cane to get something done.
We got the number 1 team, if not the number 1, the number 2 or number 3 team in America. I mean, it's all money. You got tournament buys and all. I mean, it's a buy for first or second rounds. And Nate Oates, I listened to him. I listened to the AD the other night. He has no explanation.
Well, Greg McElroy, their former quarterback at Alabama, criticized Oates heavily in the way it's been handled.
Yeah, but it's almost like I watched him on the press conference, Joe. He raised that rug up and he had enough dirt
all that Nate Oates did, he raised it up, talked about how he act like Alabama's being discriminated against or something's happened to them other than, well, the kid ain't done nothing wrong. Ain't like something had been done to him, to the player. But that wasn't that done to Brandon Miller. He wasn't killed.
Yeah, you're right, bro. But I got a text here on my phone, wants to know, when are we going to free the shortstop up where he can play for us that transferred in from Kansas?
That's right. That's what we want to know. And it's like the NCAA we're in a punishment league. You remember they done the basketball player like that last year. Didn't give us up to the day before the game started. Stuff they've done that like us forever. And the football player, Brew McCoy, release him the day that the season, day before the game started.
But this is an All-American player though, and he's already missed the Arizona series, and he's supposed to be one of the top 20 players in America. Didn't his mother come to see him and couldn't even see him play because he wasn't approved yet?
Eligible. Yeah, exactly. And they don't care.
Who cares, Bud? That's what I can't – because Danny White and them, can they do anything about it?
No.
We're at the mercy of the court. There ain't a thing we can do to sit there and take it.
You said the courts, though, but isn't it the offices of the NCAA?
That's what I'm talking about, the offices of the court.
Okay.
But here, I've got a little news for you.
Okay.
They better get all that they can get in the next couple of years because the letters NCAA ain't going to mean nothing to the SEC in about 3 years. It's going to be a thing of the past. There's not going to be no NCAA. They can make whatever rules and regulations they want, but we're not going to be going by them. When we go to a super conference, and after there'll be even more of an expansion of this. There's going to probably be 2 to 3 conferences in the whole United States. It'll be about 48 teams. And when it goes to that, the NCAA will no longer have a dog in the fight. And they can make whatever rule they want to, whatever sanction they're going to. I was told because of the Jeremy Pruitt stuff, if they give us any punishment more than what we got, we're not accepting it. We're not accepting no punishment from them. They let the LSUs and Kansases and stuff go 7, 8 years, never made no ruling against them about nothing. But we're not accepting no punishment.
You got to do it, bud. If they give you punishment, you got to accept it while you're a member of it, don't you?
Watch.
Well,
that will just be the beginning of the demise of the NCAA. This may be the straw that broke the camel's back. I was told that the school was not accepting no punishment from the NCAA if they give us any for the Jeremy Pruitt stuff.
Bud, you got a final statement this segment, and we may wind up calling you back to get you if we have some time cleared because we're not even through. Got a couple of texts away, but we're about to go to commercial break. About 30 seconds.
Well, it just upsets me so much about how that you got 2 sets of rules and how we're getting kicked in the mouth for making a phone call. And here's something else. Y'all remember Duke Cruz?
Yes.
Yeah.
Tennessee throwed him off the team, and he just had a gun in his car. Didn't show it, get it out, didn't do anything. He got dismissed from the team just for having a gun. And now we let somebody bring a gun, somebody's killed. and they don't do anything. What Duke Cruz did is legal now, having a gun in your car.
Absolutely.
And that's the irony of this. How that Tennessee, we toed the line hard, and we throw Duke Cruz off the team. We didn't wait for the NCAA to do it at the SEC. And he was the best player on our team the year he got thrown off.
Absolutely. You're right about that.
And I just want to show the hypocrisy of the SEC and the NCAA.
Bud,
and that's what
good job, as you always do. We may be calling you back a little bit later, but I'm getting the signal from producer. We have got to take that break.
I'd like to give a shout-out to all the Do Nothing Club they always listen down at McDonald's in Savannah. They told me to give them a holler this morning. We have a good team.
I'm going to give them one, too. Way to go, Do Nothing Club.
We're aptly named. I promise you that.
You got anybody else you want to give a shout-out before we go to break?
That's all my friends and all my family. So to my son, I got a son in Disney World this morning. I tell him to have a good time, to enjoy himself, and then my son Daniel and my son Ryan in Lexington.
Sound like a winner, Bud. Thank you as always, and we may be talking to you later. There he is, the one in. We need to take a timeout on the BallGame Blitz.
The BallGame Blitz Sports Network by Worthy Road Studios. With over 750,000 views in 2022, we are where you need to advertise. Please subscribe to our Worthy Road Studios YouTube channel and join the other 4,000 subscribers watching local sports, including Union University, USJ, TCA, Jackson Christian, and Peabody. Our multi-camera broadcasts include slow motion instant replay, on-screen scoreboard and graphics, and professional announcers. Thanks to our sponsors who make it all possible. BallGame Blitz Sports Network by Worthy Road Studios, the premier sports broadcast network in West Tennessee.
Thompson & Smith, the area's premier independent insurance brokerage, has been serving families and businesses in the region through its founding companies since 1927. With their many insurance company partners, Thompson & Smith provides insurance products for family, home and auto, contractors, retailers, restaurants, manufacturers, medical and dental clinics, as well as any other business or organization seeking quality coverage, risk management expertise and customer-focused service. Call them today to discuss your insurance needs.
This could be a true story. On October 3rd, a 2003 hatchback struck and killed a deer that goes by the name Buck. I know, right? He now has Buck's head proudly displayed on his living room wall. He tells a different story.
Shot it.
No, he didn't.
And to hide his lie, he took his car to Mitchell's Body Shop.
No, I didn't.
Yes, he did. And lucky for him, they made it look good as new. And as for Buck, the story continues.
And we are back, and we've been informed that not only are we on the BallGame Blitz network on YouTube page, but now you can get it on, I believe Paul said, Worthy Road Studios Facebook page, and this is an ever-expanding network, and we'll be going to the phone line in just a moment. Union University has moved their baseball game to a 2 o'clock start at their field. They're going to try to play today. The women are still tentatively scheduled their softball game, which is having to be played at USJ. We'll talk about their field situation a little differently. But on the phone line, we've got one of the finest young men I know. You people have asked for him. We were going to have him anyway, but y'all have asked for him to be brought back. I know a lot of you saw where he is signed to become a graduate assistant with the University of Memphis, but he was a great player in his own right, and I believe, and he can correct me when he does come on, that he was a 240-pound linebacker at one time at St. Benedict, or at least that's how the St. Benedict press guide listed him. And then he went and had an outstanding career at the University of Memphis. He really caught the questionable pass that was ruled. That's like the old cheer, nuts and bolts, we got screwed. The University of Memphis and Joey got cheated on that one. And, of course, he has played in the USFL a little bit, did get an injury, came back, and he was building a program, and it was an improving program, and a good friend of his, Will Hudgens, going to take over. But, Joey, we are excited, and the public asked for you, and thank you for helping deliver Joey Magnifico to all of the United States.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me on.
I'm going to let Bill lead off because he's the Tiger. I only have graduate work from the University of Memphis, and we'll forgive Jimmy on this one because he's all orange over here, but he loves you anyway too. But, Bill, go ahead and start with Joey.
Joey, there's been a lot written about this year's team, and I know you're a part of it. You've got to be excited. What drew you back to the university from your high school coaching position?
Oh yeah, so I love coaching high school and I love the kids, but I knew eventually that I wanted to get to the college ranks, and then once Coach Silverfield gave me a call and offered me a graduate assistant job to finally come back to Memphis, I couldn't pass on it. Memphis is home to me, and I'm excited to be back.
Well, my season tickets were in the south end zone, and I would sit with your aunt and uncle, and they were so very proud of you wearing your number and et cetera. In this year's schedule, and I was looking at it, you've got a stretch there that they call the University of Missouri game at St. Louis, an even match. Well, that's not really true because you're playing in St. Louis. Number 2, you follow it up with Boise State. And then you've got a team down in New Orleans that was co-champion of their conference, the American Conference, which would be Tulane. What do you think is going to happen with this year? There's a lot of question marks.
I'm excited to see. The guys are, putting in work, and we go day by day. So I'm really excited to see what they do this season.
Now, your coaching position, tell me who you're going to be coaching and what you expect, and do you have any returners that are going to offer some real offense with your quarterback position?
So I'm coaching. I'll be the graduate assistant for the tight ends and running backs, which is good for me because now I get to learn the passing game and the running game. So I'm excited about that. And we got some good guys coming in, and some guys coming back from last year in the tight end room, and I'm excited to see they're all putting in work, like I said, this off season, and they're ready to get spring ball rolling, and I'm ready to watch it.
Well, as a Tiger trainer some 50 years ago, and we had some great athletes then, and I'm looking at on the NFL and watching people like Gainwell and Tony Pollard. Do we have any Tony Pollards on the team right now that you can identify with?
I just got here this week, so to be honest with you, I'm still learning everybody, and I'll probably get a better grasp at it when practice starts.
When does it start, Joey?
It starts here. We got spring break next week, and then we'll come back in the middle of March and start our spring practice.
Joey, got a question. Looking at Tigers recruiting, you got 2 junior college tight ends coming in. That has to be a help at that position this fall.
Oh, yeah. Getting the junior college guys, getting some experience, too, that's played at the college level. So I'm super excited about those 2 guys and watch them work and see what they can do.
Joey, I'm going to send you a link. Bill, I didn't mean to step on. Paul Schultze has taken some pictures that we got him. He has developed a great graphic, and I just got a text on my personal phone, and I know the young lady texted. She wanted to know if you're married.
No, sir, I'm not.
Okay, he's available out there, young ladies, and there are some great pictures, and I'll send you a link where you can run through the interview, and they put this up on the screen. But, Bill, I think you had something else.
Here's my thing. I have a grandson playing high school ball, and he's a potentially good athlete. When you came out of high school, what was your size, and where did you start to play, and where did you finish up playing?
So when I was in high school, I played really anywhere on defense, from defensive end to linebacker. But my main, primary was linebackers. I thought I was going to school for linebacker, and I also played outside receiver, so I had a little versatile. And a lot of schools were recruiting me for tight end. I probably came out of high school around 6'3", 220, 225. 240 was kind of a stretch. I didn't get to that weight until probably my second year of college.
Joey, the transition, this is something you're familiar with it, not only as player to college and a stint with the Panthers and the pros, but now you're familiar as a coach. Can you talk about the transition from the previous, like going from your position at St. Benedict as a player to a player at the University of Memphis, and then to the USFL and the Panthers, and then talk about coaching transitions? What's hard about it, what's easy about it, and any advice that you can give to people?
I've had a long journey from college to playing USFL to coaching, so I've just all taken it all in and really just, I've learned from all of it. I think the biggest transition jumping from high school to college is in high school, I was the only coach on staff, so I was doing everything, putting helmets together, washing jerseys and all that. So, and now jumping into the college ranks, and I'm a graduate assistant, so right now I'm doing whatever the coaches need me to do, and it's just a little different transition. But like I said, I've been here a week and I'm loving it, so I'm excited.
Well, you're talking about loving it. I was thinking about my first travel date. We went to Denton, Texas to play North Texas. We've got new teams coming in, the USTA and et cetera, coming from other conferences. What was your biggest rival that you felt as a football player playing for the University of Memphis?
I would have to say probably Houston. We always played them at the end of the year. That was our last game for about 3 years straight. And I think we had a lot of guys that came from Houston on my team, so it was kind of like a inter-squad rival, and we always loved to get after Houston and beat them. So I think Houston was probably one of the biggest ones. And then obviously we played Ole Miss 3 times while I was at Memphis, and them being 45 minutes down the street is kind of a close game rivalry, and probably them two were the teams.
Joey, I know you've been on that job in a limited time, but isn't coaching that it's basically you're dealing with a different age group of kids or young men, but isn't coaching basically coaching any level you get to?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I will say the difference is, in high school I'm coaching 14 and 15-year-old kids that are really just learning the game of football. So you got to go over a lot of the fundamentals of football, and you still do at the college level, but they've been playing for 5 or 6 years now, and so they kind of understand it a little bit better, and it's easier to coach college kids to me just because they're older and they're more experienced.
All right, if you get the opportunity, and I think I know the answer, if we look out 15 years from now, where's Joey's going to be?
Somewhere in college coaching. If that's a tight end coach, a position coach, an OC, or a head coach, I'm going for it all. And right now I'm taking really advantage of all these great coaches around me and learning from them. They're putting the coaching aspect into me, and I'm grateful for them. They're teaching me a lot, and I'm excited to learn.
Any aspirations of being an NFL coach or head coach?
Later down the line for sure. Right now, I think my main focus is college. And being at home in Memphis is a great opportunity for me. So I think right now is college rank is the highest I want to go.
Kyle, well, I don't blame you now. I stayed in high school, and the only thing is every once in a while I regret not going and taking college offers. I admire you for doing that, and that is a great thing. Jim?
Yeah, Joey, you mentioned you kind of like to stay around the college game. I know it's getting more and more professional-like in college football, but still it's not, quote, a job the way the NFL is.
Right. I would say college is still a job. As far as the kids going, they got workouts in the morning. They'll go to class all day, go to study hall, come back and have meetings at night. So when I was a player, we took it as a job just because you're up there all day, and there's a million kids out there in high school level that want that position. So you got to take it as a job, take it serious, because you never know, there's kids everywhere that want the same opportunity.
Joey, I got to ask you this. Had a texter text us into it. Now, Will Hudgens is going to take your place at St. Benedict as head coach. And did you play on the team, cross paths with he and Will Gilchrist?
No, sir, I did not. Will Hudgens is probably, I would say, about 8 to 10 years older than me. But, growing up as a Tiger fan, I always knew who Will Hudgens was. And then the older I got, gotten to be around him, and me and him become really good friends. So I think St. Benedict's in a great spot with him as a head coach.
All right, you're talking about great spots. I want you to talk about one thing, because I've heard down the road, you're talking about 45 miles. Lane Kiffin has decided that the NIL, he'd rather get a young man who's already played a half a century, it seems like, Tell me what your thoughts are about NIL.
It's just a different world that college football is living in nowadays, and there's pros and cons to everything. So it's a different water, a new water that we have to jump into, and just see how it goes here in the next couple of years.
Well, I was going to ask you one other thing. When you look at your career and look over your shoulder, and did you make the catch?
Yes, he made the catch.
I want to see.
We want to hear Joey say it.
I want to see what Joey said. Did you make the catch?
Absolutely.
And we got, you remember at the other show we interviewed Joey, we played the clip. We're going to have clips, and the next time you come back with us, which, well, I've got the intro to that, I'm going to make you promise on air that you'll be back on with us. We're about to run out of time, and we've got people texting questions on my phone even, and they ask again, we covered Will Hudgens. What about Will Gilchrist? Did you play with him? I
did not.
You did not. You missed him, but he's at Clemson now. He's taken a job there, and this Memphis. You can get a coaching position. People respect what we've done over the last 10 years at the University of Memphis.
Well, I think also the playing positions. Because they always talked about. I mean, you look at the NFL now, and we're filled. We used to have a lot of linebackers and Keith Simpson and some of those, and then you got a friend of mine coming back and coaching high school. And that's Blake Butler coming to ECS, and he'll and his dad's doing some assistance with him, so it'll be a nice package with University of Memphis starting player coming back to ECS, and he'll look forward because he's at every game and he'll watch you coach this year. And from Jackson, Tennessee, your fans wish you well and hope you have a great career and use this as a launching pad to a college job.
I appreciate it, and I appreciate y'all having me on. I always love being on the show.
Well, you got a fan club down here, son. Please stay in touch, and we're going to have you back on. Matter of fact, I know already I've got you penciled in before football starts and before y'all have to get out with the guys in shorts and headgear and then start the real practice. I've got a time I'll call you back about. But like I said, here's another one. Just came in and said, we love you, Joey. I don't know. That must be that girl that keeps wanting to know if you're single. And, anyway, and I'm going to send you a link where you can watch this because it's on the YouTube network of Worthy Road Studios and BallGame Blitz. Plus, it's on Facebook. Today's first day we've been on Facebook. But thank you for your time and any parting shots you want to give to the fans.
I appreciate the love I have out there in Jackson. I just want to give a shout out to Will Hudgens too as well, and hope he has a great season over there at St. Benedict because, I still love them boys, and I'll be watching.
Absolutely. And, Joey, we love you too. We know you're going to do a great job, and we admire you. And like I said, you got plenty of friends, not only in Memphis but down here too, and your interview just went all over the world today.
Well, I appreciate it.
And we appreciate you. We're going to have to take a time out. Joey, we'll be talking to you down the road a little bit. And when we come back, we will have more. Let's take a time out, though, on the BallGame Blitz.
Dynamics Physical Therapy, your elite provider in sports medicine and performance. Now serving communities throughout West Tennessee.
At Arrington Funeral Directors, we accept all pre-arranged funerals. So you may have pre-arranged your funeral in this town with another funeral home or even in another state, but we accept all pre-arranged funerals because we're here to serve families.
Downtown is thriving and the Blacksmith Restaurant is leading the pack. From the rustic dining room to the unmatched patio, eating local with family is what we're about. Live local, eat local, relax local.
And you are back on the Ball Game Blitz on not only YouTube Network, but we have been informed it is on Worthy Road's Facebook. And a great show. Sorry about me being a little hoarse from last night, but on the phone line we've got one of the greats. I need to get these announcements in. Union's baseball game has been moved to 2 o'clock today. They're playing West Florida, and the women, I believe, are also playing West Florida. They're still holding for a 1 o'clock start that you can see those games on Union's Facebook page and also through the
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock. Both of them.
Both of them are now 2 o'clock.
Absolutely.
We just got informed from the production room and that both of them are now 2 o'clock. And you can catch those here with the Ball Game Blitz Worthy Road Studios. I know that Stephen Aldridge will probably be on the call of one. And, of course, still got a little basketball. They tied for first. They have to win today, though. And they play, I believe, their last regular season game today at Union. Steve Beverly always does the calls there. But one of the smoothest, one of the finest, one of the most knowledgeable broadcasters, a kind gentleman that always says nice things about not only his team but the other team is on the line. Diamond Dave, how are you today? And are y'all playing baseball and softball at Bethel today?
Well, good morning, guys. Appreciate you having me on. Yeah, we're playing. I'm on the way there. I'm in Milan right now, headed to McKenzie, but just got a report from one of my associates, Derek Hubble, that it's not raining in McKenzie right now, but game's been bumped around a lot. The series playing havoc, the weather with the series, but Bethel won last night 6-2, got the night game in, got a 9-inning game in last night, 7 and 9 inning today, and we're scheduled to start around 1 o'clock. So hopefully, you know how we guys are in the media business. I love doing it, but boy, I hate rain delays. I hope we can get started at 1 and not have any interruptions.
Yeah, I know. David Wade and I wound up at Columbia, and they stopped for lightning twice, and those two were interrupted by lightning. We were there, and we were prepared to do the game at 11:58 when they finally called it.
Yeah, I've been there and done that. I remember a McKenzie TCA football game one night in McKenzie. I think we didn't get home till about 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, yeah.
Dave, your new position, you've got an SID as if you didn't. How many sports do you play now at Bethel?
28 sports. We have almost 800 athletes, as many athletes as most SEC schools do.
All right, and then you've got your new position as associate AD, correct?
That is correct, and I enjoy doing that as well. But it's a little, it's a good task, but so far so good, guys.
Dave, I got to jump in and ask you this. I'm going back to high school. Last night, I thought you did an excellent job. How sad is it? You've been with these girls. You had 3 fine young ladies that they played right down to the last second. It was that close of a game. We had the lead. They had the lead. I forgot how many ties and lead changes there were. We led at halftime. How sad is it, though, that, you know, it's kind of like they're your own daughters, even though you don't really have them as daughters. 3 of them are going to graduate, and you won't ever get to call their games again.
Yeah, that's a great point, Joe. And it's a sad time. You know, those 4 seniors, over 100 ball games they've won. They leave a legacy that I think is right up there near the top, if not the top, of girls basketball out there. The state title, of course, they were members of that as young ladies. But to watch them progress and to watch them develop as young people, a great joy. I guess, Joe, after 40 years of broadcasting, the finale of a season and seeing careers end, it's never easy. But you can go back, and they will. You know, kids are more resilient than we are most of the time. But it was a somber mood last night when I left. I made it a point to go talk to each kid's parents and tell them thanks. They kept thanking me, and I kept thanking them. I said, no, I'm the one that needs to be thankful to follow your kids' careers. But, you know, Camden Maxville, Cardin Vales, Olivia Lee, and Amelia Gehring. What great kids they are, what great players they have been. And some of them are moving on to the collegiate ranks in different sports and in basketball as well, so I wish them the very best. But it's never easy. I've done it for a long time, and there are teams that you bond with a little bit more than maybe some others. And there's, 40 years of seeing all these kids graduate and move on. But this is one of the teams that ranks right up there near the top. And to watch them go down last night in their home arena, it was a sad time. It was a great game, great atmosphere. Middle Tennessee Christian brought a great crowd. And I'm telling you guys, TCA's a great team, but that team is really good too. The Rucker kid, I thought she was the difference. You know, their kids off the bench, I thought, were a big factor for them. They had a little kid named Smith to come in, not so little, but, and they really, it, of course, makes one of one of the finalists, along with Olivia. She went out with foul trouble. TCA had a 38-33 lead when she went out, and I thought, well, we'll put them away now. But credit them, they hung in, they tied the game, and then it was nip and tuck the rest of the way. She came off the bench, and the first shot she put up, right baseline jumper, was huge for them. And then she hit another one a few minutes later, and I thought those 2 buckets were the difference in the game. But this team, TCA, has nothing to be ashamed about. And I guess if there's one solace to the whole thing, Stan and I said this, and then when I went down and talked, we didn't say it on the air, but when I went down and talked to the parents guys, I think the resolution for all of us was, at least we don't have to go play Webb. Not that we've been scared of them, but, Webb beat Fed Academy last night, 86-26. I don't want to jump on a negative soapbox this morning, but that's just almost unfair what's happening with that program up there. And, you don't go up there and then probably, well, I said you shouldn't say probably, but you don't go up there and have to face them. And not that Matt Coble and Hot Rod Parker and the kids would have, they would have loved to go on to Cookville. We'd love to go on with them. A long answer, I know, to your question. I apologize. But a lot to be said about this team, a lot to be said about their character, their grace, the dignity, and it's been a labor of love to be a part of TCA all these years.
Dave, I'm going to switch with you because I think, as I told you, I taped the guy's ankles of his father.
Sure.
But I looked across from where you were sitting last night, and I saw the coach that we all know is Blake, okay?
Yep.
Anybody at TCA knows it's Blake Butler. Now, you're going to ECS. He said he felt the Lord lead him, and I respect that. He's there at the game rooting as he's still a TCA Lion. What's your thoughts of Blake Butler?
I think he'll always be a Lion. I told him that last night. I made it a point to look him up last night. And, on the final night of a season like that, guys, you just want to go to people. I went over and congratulated one of their kids, Daz. I had met him before the game, but the Shirley kid, she really played well for them. I went over and congratulated him and wished him the best. But I made it a point to go around and talk to some people on the floor last night, which I normally don't do because I had to get home and write a baseball story last night. But that was okay. I took my time, and I talked to Blake. Blake was down at the end of the gym, gave him a hug. He gave me a hug. I told him I loved him, and he told me he loved me. And I wish them the very best. They're looking at a home today or in the next couple of days that they're really considering buying. And I was kidding him a little bit. I said, I came from Arlington, and you're going toward Arlington. And he said that they looked at a house yesterday that he and Allison really liked. I won't go any further. That's their own private business. But I'm going to miss Blake. Blake, not only a great football coach, he was the longest running guy left in the city with TCA. And great coach, but I think even a better person. And boy, oh boy, what a lovely family they have. And I just can't wish him anything but the best. And I know that he'll always be a Lion, and he'll always have TCA as a part of his fabric of his life.
I think, and you're absolutely right, he had the longest tenure. Reeder out at Southside, Coach Reeder, is the longest tenured, and that moves Darby Palmer up into second longest tenure. So we've got relatively short stay coaches now. Blake had been there quite a while. I enjoyed a day that I came out to look at our broadcast setup, and he's a very articulate young man. He uses proper grammar. He's knowledgeable, not only in football. He and I just talked for about 40 minutes that day, and it was a very enjoyable conversation.
And Joe, and Bill and Jim, you can just tell guys how he relates to young people and how they respond to him. I mean, you just tell it. I mean, let's face it, TCA's had some great teams and great programs, but, at a school that size, it's hard to maintain a degree of excellence, and yet he's done that out there.
Well, y'all one of the smaller schools, and Blake has done more with less. Blake's one of those guys that he can coach his kids and beat you, but he could coach your kids and beat you too.
I always said that about David Russell at Bradford, the great basketball coach up there for years, and and Randy Frazier and those kind of people. And there's a lot of other folks I'm leaving out, but that's a great analogy, Joe. When sometimes you can take a team less talented and beat the other team that's more talented. Yeah.
Dave, got two quick questions for you, my friend.
Sure.
Mentioned Webb School. We had Matthew Gillespie and could not really pin him down on how that was legal for them to get players from out of state and out of the country to be playing. I think it might be the fact that if you got schools like that in Tennessee, they should be in some kind of league like the IMG Academy in Bradenton, Florida.
Oak Hill,
such as that.
Yeah, Jim, I agree with you. Here's the thing. I think legally, by the letter of the law, it's legal. But ethically, I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's not an even playing board. You make a point, I guess, if you're a Webb fan. But, the bottom line is their most valuable player last year, the game against us in the semifinals, came off the bench. I mean, when you can start kids 6'3", 6'2", and nothing against the kids, they're taking opportunities that's provided for them. I don't have any animosity toward the kids. I've got some animosity toward the fact that the TSSAA hasn't done something about it. But I guess legally it's okay. I mean, it's acceptable. But ethically, I don't think it's right when you have a team in a state that recruits from, foreign players and golly, it was just, TCA hung with them about the first half of the first quarter, and then after that, it just got away from us. And they beat Fed Academy, which is Emmy Moore's one of my favorite players. I know her family really well, love that family, the Lucas family, the Nolting family. But Emmy, and them, it just wasn't fair. 86-26 last night. I mean, that's shameful, I think, on the TSSAA side of it, because Fed Academy is a pretty good basketball team.
Yeah. Dave, you got to realize also that they could probably finish in at least midways in your Mid-South Conference.
They compete. I'm not sure. But they compete with some of the lower level teams.
I understand, but
it.
I mean, you're talking a 60-point TCA against Fayette Academy. How did y'all fare?
We beat them, but one of the games in Somerville was really close. But we beat them pretty good at TCA. Yeah.
But nobody else is going to play with them. I don't.
No. Last night, the funny thing about it is, last night, Middle Tennessee Christians played them 4 times. They got beat by 11, 41, and 28. And I'm telling you, I could see where Middle Tennessee Christian could give them a good game. Some strategy involved, those kind of things. I'll tell you what I'd do if I could. I'd put the quickest cats I got out there that can handle the ball, and I'd freeze the ball on them.
Absolutely, that's what I said.
I'd try to make it a 10. I'd try to make it a 10-6, 8-4 game.
Yeah, and Dave, you mentioned kind of bittersweet. The end of a season. I know during your career you had a chance to end on a positive note a couple of times with the TCA softball team when they won state championships. That has to be a different feeling when the final game of the year your team comes out on top.
And Jim, that's a good point. Only one team is going to walk out of Division II or TSSAA, single A, double A, triple A, all the A's. Only one team's going to walk out and really be super happy about the year. But I think when you look back at years, even teams, I had the Lambeth team that won it all, in 2007 at the collegiate level. So just a handful of times do you walk away and say, okay, we are the champs. But, I don't look at it that way. I look at it as the total package as far as what you experienced through the year. Obviously, everyone wants to win a state title. Everyone wants to win a national title. Very few do. It makes it really special when you do. But you're right. The finality of it always sets in. But again, you look back at some of the great seasons and great years that teams I've covered have had, and I look at it even more so. I look at it as the relationships you develop with the fans, the parents, the kids, and you're just grateful. And I never, not one time, put on a microphone and take it for granted.
Yeah, I tell you what, Dave, these young ladies, they'll look back here in a few weeks to finish up the season 23-7. That's a pretty dadgum good year in basketball.
And Jim, you consider they won over 100 games. I mean, and you consider all the big battles they had, the great times they had together and they shared together. I think they'll look back at that. They'll have a bond that will last their entire lives, this group of seniors, no doubt. And I just love covering them. I love meeting their parents and, the grandparents. Talked to the Garings last night. Very sad. A time to really reflect back and just be grateful for the great times we've had.
And I think that's the one thing that we fans, sports fans, broadcasters, etc., have to realize that our time is going to end sometime. Okay.
Yeah, and mine's probably getting pretty near. I'm not sure how much longer I'll do this. I keep saying every year I take it 1 year at a time. And, right now I plan on coming back. It's not about me, though. It's about the kids and about the parents and about the people you serve. Ken Northcutt wrote me a message this morning in a post that I put up on Facebook. And if you get a chance, I'd like for you guys to read, if you would. I put a post about the finale of the season and what it means to me to be a part of TCA. And Ken sent one of the most poignant messages I've ever received. Don't want to get emotional here, but he talked about the fact that my broadcasting had been a ministry to some people. And I don't know if that's not the best compliment anyone ever gave me.
Well, I think it would be, Dave. And
Dave.
I will say this. Ever since I've known you, you have always done a broadcast that was not prejudiced. And I use the word prejudice. If you did a broadcast and had USJ, Jackson Christian, you were as nice and kind in displaying. I could sit at home with the flu, but I felt like I was in the gym or on the field watching the game. And even today on Bethel, when I've helped you, it's been a unique. I don't know that there's another broadcaster that paints a brush like Diamond Dave does.
That's very kind of you, Bill.
Well, Dave, and I'm going to say this,
but again, it's not about me. It's about the kids and about the opportunities I've had. So I don't want to make this about me. It's about those 4 seniors last night. But I appreciate you. You're very kind. As John Ward used to say, Jim Butler, you're very kind, caller. But
and you make it a player and team friendly broadcast for both teams.
Thank you, Joe. That means a lot.
Folks.
Especially coming for you guys, three guys, yeah.
They will never be able to replace you. I'll go ahead. I'll go on record. Book it down, people. You may have good broadcasts, but without Diamond Dave, you don't have great broadcasts.
No, and I think that's a difference. And Dick Palmer was one of those.
Yes, Dick Palmer.
When he left town.
Absolutely.
Tom Brett, smooth as silk and better than milk when he calls one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had a great point, Tom. Or I think if I brought up any words about them, it would be super professionals and smooth as silk. That's good points, yeah.
And you're like, sometimes you do a good enough job that you can scout off it. I used to scout off Bill Haney's broadcast. I was in one gym and listened to Bill call the Chester County and Milan game. And John Pipkin, if you want to know how I've never lost to you, it's a little tip that Bill Haney said on the air. And sometimes broadcasters are that good.
Well, I appreciate that, Joe. And you guys, I feel likewise toward you three guys. Here's the thing, too. Harry Ferguson told me one time. And Harry's one of those guys, people that don't know Harry, he was a legendary coach at Trenton Peabody, prior to that at Union City. And Harry's the kind of guy that didn't mince words. And he told me one night he's under the weather. He was listening to Gibson County game. And he said, Dave, I felt like I was there. And he said, you described the defense better than anybody. And I appreciate that. I thought, well, coming from Harry, that's a pretty nice compliment. Hey, but look, it's Hat Fowler and Ken Northcutt hired me to come out in 2006 to do Trinity Christian. And it's been a true blessing to be a part of that school. And, if the good Lord's willing and the health holds up, maybe another year or two, and we'll look forward to it.
Well, we hope you do. And speaking of Hap, his brother Larry still calls a few games.
You know how
I saw
young
Larry
Dave
a
looks
few
on
times.
TV?
Yeah.
Dave, we got a great
young.
picture. You need to see yourself on TV. We got your picture up in the corner, and it says On the Line with Dave McCulley. Son, you look like, I'm going to be honest with you, Miss Peggy better keep
like
you in the house and lock you up.
50 years old.
Women going to be chasing you. You look so good.
If I tell you, Bill knows how old I am, and you guys do too. If I tell you how old I was, or the listeners and the followers, and by the way, let me compliment Paul. What a remark! I heard you guys talking about Union, and I love the interview with Joey. By the way, that was a great interview, and he did a super job as well. But let me just say this about Paul Schultz: he has built, I think, an empire as far as what he's trying to do right now. And Union baseball, wish Casey and the gang out there the very best. McGehee, I got to try to get out there and watch a game or two if I can, if I ever get an afternoon off. But Paul has just done a remarkable job with Union and all the high schools, and golly, he's a blessing to this area right now too.
He surely is. Dave, we got about 30 seconds before we got to take a break. Anything you want to say? And your young man that I think a lot of, he has improved in coaching, Matt Coble's coming up after you.
Well, I enjoy. I'm not quite to McKenzie. I'm about 10 miles out, but I'll leave my phone on, and I'm going to watch Matt and just tell Matt I say hello and that we love him, and hang in there, and we'll be with him next year, hopefully.
Sounds like a winner. Dave, always a pleasure. We want you to come in as we build the show about next July, and we'll do some super football with Diamond Dave McCulley.
Well, I hope maybe even sneak by next Saturday. I have an actually Saturday off, no home games next week. So.
Wow. That we may need to mark that on the calendar. Dave, the whole crew loves you. Jackson loves you, and I know Bethel and TCA love you.
Love you guys.
Great
job, guys.
There
Thanks.
he is,
Bye-bye.
the one and only Diamond Dave McCulley. And we've got to take a time out here on the BallGame Blitz, the Lightning Strike Sports Show, and we've had some great interviews. You'll like Matthew Coble coming up, Chris Treese, former UT cornerback in the Legends camp that'll be at Jackson Christian School, Greg Armour, and I'm holding out some on you, but Greg is a story in himself, and then Jeff Jones, who I have come to enjoy talking to, and a very good guy. This and more on the Lightning Strike Sports Show. Let's take that time out.
We realize you have a busy lifestyle, and at the Bank of Jackson, we're here to help you fulfill all of your financial needs, personal and business loans, mortgages, online banking and bill pay, and so much more. Serving the Jackson area for 25 years. The Bank of Jackson, your down-home community bank. You belong here. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
The name you can count on. Carlock Automotive, Van Drive, Jackson. Serving the Jackson area for over 20 years. Carlock Nissan and Carlock Prestige, the name you can count on. Carlock Automotive, Van Drive, Jackson.
Great American Sports. Make sports an addiction. Located at 125B Old Hickory Boulevard, East in Jackson. We specialize in teen sports for youth leagues, schools, and churches. We can embroider and screen print team uniforms. We also have sports equipment, Under Armour, and Adidas clothing, and anything else you need for your teen sports. You can email or call us for all your teen sports needs. Great American Sports. Make sports an addiction.
Home furnishings, appliances, bedding, and so much more. Kaufman's. At the Bypass and Oil Well Road in Jackson. Home furnishings for every room in your home. Custom upholstery options too, with professional advice. Major appliances from America's top name brands. Mattresses and bedding accessories. Outdoor living and grilling too. And our fully stocked warehouse helps prevent supply chain delays. Kaufman's, for your life.
Do you want your smile to say it all? At Elite Dental Care, we'll make you and your family feel comfortable and secure with a variety of services and state-of-the-art care. We offer sedation dentistry that will make your time in the dental chair comfortable and relaxed. Come by and see our newly renovated and expanded office in Jackson or one of our other convenient locations in Trenton or Dyersburg. Trust your smile with Elite Dental Care and let your smile say it all.
And we are back here on the Lightning Strike Sports Show. Coach Joe Holloway, Jimmy Butler, Bill Hamilton, and thousands of listeners out there. And we just had a great interview waiting on Matthew Coble, and who had a tough loss last night. His team played well. Maybe a couple of those girls, Dave was right on with his assessment off the bench. And it wasn't just Banks. They have more than Banks there at Middle Tennessee Christian, Bill. And I think you've got some stuff that the people need to know.
Well, Joe, Lightning Strike Sports Show is, I think, the most powerful show Jackson's ever had, and we are live on Worthy Road Studio, the YouTube channel. We're also on BallGame Blitz, the Facebook page. And want to remember today that Union University Baseball is 2 p.m. It's been moved from 1 to 2. It is a doubleheader. They're coached by, and I think I've got a lineup card that had Casey McGehee when he played in the majors. I found it the other day in one of my souvenirs that my son had gotten for me. Union University softball today. It's going to be at USJ at 2 p.m. in a doubleheader. And also, if you get a chance on Tuesday evening, Union University basketball at 6 p.m. And, Joe, we also want to mention, we're going to have some trivia, getting ready, as they would say, so you could text us today. We're not going to give prizes today, but you can prepare for the Pig House Boys behind Walgreens, that jumbo baked potato or barbecue sandwich. I've got actually a local question and then a trivia question from down the road. So whenever you're ready, we can give those.
Well, let's do a couple of things here. First of all, I want to get caught back up on some text, and I do apologize about that. And I need to give out the text number according to one. But you see it on the screen. It's 731-343-9929. And, of course, we had one I thought was a great text. I wished I'd got it on so Joey could have heard it. It says, if he ever wanted to be a magician later in life, he has the perfect last name. Magnifico.
Yeah, it's one of the names, and on the NFL and different broadcasts, when they said it, they also said that was one of the special names that you always, Baskerville Holmes was one of those also.
Yeah.
Yes, the Hounds of the Baskerville.
Yeah, and that was a good one too.
And we got another text here that says, so proud of Bethel. I grew up a Cumberland Presbyterian, and there was a time that Bethel almost closed, and she is absolutely right. This is Cindy Deaton, one of our greatest listeners, greatest texters, and we're going to get Cindy back on. Remember, she called us in a previous show on a Father's Day show and did such a wonderful job. Her dad was a friend of my family and also our insurance man, Wayne Perry. And Wayne was a fantastic human being. She goes on to say, Bob Hope came and did a benefit to save the school, and she is absolutely right. Good leadership, forward thinking has made them thrive, and we appreciate Cindy listening. Peyton Sickler is listening in Gatlinburg, and he says he sent a text. Now, I am punching these texts up, and I may have to get Paul look.
You need some more phones, Joe.
Yeah.
Can I bring you a phone today?
Yeah, I just need about one more. What is happening with UT baseball and basketball? I think Bud answered that. When is Diamond Dave going to be on today? I should have read that, so Dave could have appreciated that. And tell you what we're going to do. We're going to take even though we won't have as much time, we're going to take a timeout here, and production folks, Gary Lockhart, who does such a great job, give me a short timeout. I want to try Matthew Coble one more time. And let's take that timeout, and we'll try to get Coach Coble on.
Do you want your smile to say it all? At Elite Dental Care, we'll make you and your family feel comfortable and secure with a variety of services and state-of-the-art care. We offer sedation dentistry that will make your time in the dental chair comfortable and relaxed. Come by and see our newly renovated and expanded office in Jackson or one of our other convenient locations in Trenton or Dyersburg. Trust your smile with Elite Dental Care and let your smile say it all.
Looking for a new and exciting career? At Jackson State Community College, we offer nationally recognized, top-rated programs designed to greenlight your career for success. With courses available in the health sciences, nursing, computer technology, and much more, your next step towards a career starts here at Jackson State. Learn how Jackson State Community College can greenlight your future at greenlightyourfuture.com.
King Jewelers is not your typical run-of-the-mill jewelry store. Grover is a certified jeweler with 35 years experience. This isn't just a jewelry store. It's an iconic symbol of love. How far would you go for love? King Jewelers, 16B Conrad Drive, Jackson.
We are back, and we're playing with the phone lines a little bit. Matthew, maybe we're dialing him back. He accidentally, or we accidentally cut him off as he dialed in because I was in the process of hanging up a different phone call, and maybe he will answer that call.
Joe, you mentioned Tennessee basketball. 3 games remaining for the men. They play South Carolina this afternoon at home. Tuesday night they have Arkansas at home and finish up the regular season next Saturday at Auburn. The women, one more game. They finish up the regular season tomorrow at Kentucky. And then the women's SEC basketball tournament begins Wednesday in South Carolina. Kind of, I don't know why they got it there, but should be interesting last 2 weeks of the regular season for the Vols. They sit at 20-8, still looking like a pretty good seed. The women sit at 20-10, and should be one of the favorites going into the SEC tournament.
Okay, let me try this. Matt, can you hear us?
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Okay, there he is. And folks really want to hear you. Hey, your kids played good. You coached well. They had a couple of more shots than them. The fouls got them to the line, and then you were forced to foul. But a great game. We just want to hear your thoughts right now.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, those that got to watch a really good game last night. Two really good teams battling it out, and they just happened to make one more play than we did. You lose by 3, one more play. You got to give props to their team for coming on the road, holding fort with their best girl in foul trouble. They just kind of held it down until she got in, and then she came in. She made some really big plays and a big shot. But yeah, those that got to watch two really good teams battling it out. Could have gone either way.
Yeah, I thought Rucker and Davis, and there was one other girl that her name escapes me, gave them a big boost. And but your team played so well, and I know it's hard. I've lost games before coaching, but y'all gave it a shot. And I'm going to tell you what, Middle Tennessee Christian knew that TCA was there.
Oh yeah, for sure. And the Davis girl, the little point guard, we knew about. The Shirley girl, I mean, she's been their second lead scorer, so we kind of knew them, and I thought we did a really good job on the Shirley. Some of her points came on foul call on the 3-point shot that may or may not have been a foul. I mean, they called it, and she now knocked down those free throws. Credit to her, but the kind of the one that kind of boosted them over was the Rucker girl, because she hasn't really done that. That was probably her best game all year from what I've seen on film. And she, when Banks was out, she kind of helped attack that basket and get to the free throw line and create some baskets for them. So, Rucker made a huge difference. All three of those girls really did, but their team played really well when Banks was out, and they stepped up. But, yeah, our girls, they didn't take anything away from our girls because they played really hard, had every opportunity. We missed some. We had some play calls and got the looks we wanted. We just didn't hit them, and that happens. But this group, proud of them as a coach because they fought to the very end, fought hard, and it's not like they lost to a lousy team. So definitely, really, really proud of them.
Absolutely.
Coach,
and we've got Jim, I hated to butt in, but we've only got about 2 minutes left for the next break comes. But talk about the people you're losing and then some of them that's coming back, because I know it hurts to have lost, and moral victories aren't the same but you got good Christian young ladies, but you got several that's leaving the program this year to graduation. But I know you well enough, and I know your team, y'all going to come back fighting next year.
Yeah, well, you want to talk about hurt. That's the hurt, the end, and it being finale. This group of seniors won 100 games. They went to the state tournament every year. They won one, finished in the final 12, finished in the final 8, and finished in the final 4 in their 4 years. So, I looked at them last night, and I told them there's not many coaches that get to look at their seniors and tell them what an accomplishment they've really made like that, And so really kind of special with that group of what they've accomplished. And more than that, just the people and the kids they are and the leaders that they are, knowing they're going to be successful in whatever they do. And because of their leadership, it's what's going to transfer to those young girls. That hunger, kind of wanting to continue that success. So that's going to be fun. Their leadership's going to carry over to those younger girls, and they want to, they have a desire to come back and be ready and continue what's been put in front of them.
Matt, got 3 things. Number one, we want you to promise, and we're going to hold you to it, and we're taping these. They're going to be archived on the Worthy Road and BallGame Blitz YouTube network, and they'll be there forever. One, we want you to come back and talk with us longer. And Matt's a coach. He has things that do sometimes. So we got a little late start, but we want to get you on for the normal amount of time. So will you promise us that?
Sure.
And
sure. I'm sorry. I'm at my parents' house with my little baby.
Well, that's important. That's more important than sports sometimes. I'm proud of you for that. Secondly, though, we're going to give you, we've got 30 seconds. It's your turn to say anything you want to the listening public.
If those listening and those that watch, you got to witness an unbelievable group of girls. Could not express how much I'm proud of them. My hurt is because it's over and I don't get to go see those girls and be with them every day at practice and games.
Absolutely. I know that feeling. You need to see this graphic that Paul made up for you. And if you get a chance, go back and look at it, or tell Paul to make you a picture of it and send it. It's got 3 pictures, I think, of you. It's got your 3 seniors, and then a remembrance of Olivia scoring 2,000 points. So that's pretty good. Matter of fact, your wife made that too. Matthew, we want you to come back. We really do, and we'll make time for you. Just let me know, and we'll work something out and get you on for more in the future.
All right, sounds good.
Okay, thanks you, Coach, for calling, Matthew.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Okay, bye-bye. Now, we've got to take another timeout, and when we come back through the magic of cell phones, Paul's equipment, and Chris picking up his phone, we'll have Chris Treese, the former cornerback under Johnny Majors, who has contributed a lot as a Vol for Life and with the Legends camps that'll be here in Jackson at Jackson Christian School next Saturday. He probably will tell you how you can sign up. Let's take that time out on the BallGame Blitz.
The most important benefit when you buy from Jones Chevrolet at Three-Way, peace of mind. Jones Chevrolet's warranty forever comes with every qualifying new and pre-owned vehicle. Powertrain coverage for as long as you own your vehicle. Find out more at Jones Chevrolet in Three-Way. Championship DNA. That's what you find at Jones Chevrolet at Three-Way. A full line of new Chevrolets plus West Tennessee's largest used car inventory. State-of-the-art service work and pre-approved auto loans online at JonesChevroletHumboldt.com. Shop with a winner. Jones Chevrolet at Three-Way.
The news says Gen Z is struggling. I've got news for them.
I wait tables, but last week I built a field hospital.
I put out a forest fire.
I stopped 1,000 attackers.
And a natural disaster.
I've saved lives and led a team on patrol.
I serve.
Well, I go to school full-time.
While I work full-time.
The greater the challenge, the stronger we become.
Football looks fun. I bet I would have been great at it. The first football playing Deer, they would have made a movie about me and everything. Probably get Kurt Russell to play me. But alas, me and my dreams run right over again.
For fast, reliable collision repair, trust the experts at Mitchell's Body Shop. And get back out there.
We offer live webcasting for families. It kind of came out of when so many warriors were going overseas to war. We have learned to offer families more choices, that we want to serve our families well and serve our families better.
Buying a home is a major milestone, and at the Bank of Jackson, we want to help you achieve it. Our mortgage specialists can assist you with conventional, VA, FHA, or construction loans, as well as USDA and THDA development loans. Serving the Jackson area for 25 years. The Bank of Jackson, your down-home community bank. You belong here. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
It's tax refund time. If you've been putting off replacing your aging HVAC system, there's no better time to invest in a new system. Call McCoy's Heating and Air to schedule your new AC estimate and ask about our 10-year all-inclusive package. For one low monthly payment, you'll receive a brand new unit with complete maintenance and repair coverage for a decade with approved credit. Restore your comfort and peace of mind. Call 731-668-7492 or visit airmccoy.com. McCoy's Heating and Air, Jackson's most trusted team of technicians.
anyone contemplating pre-planning, we can tell you from our experience, it's much easier to make funeral plans and record them now than wait until emotions are running at their highest.
With pre-planning, you can free your mind and heart from having to make big decisions during a time of grief and instead enjoy the freedom to focus on the memories of a life well lived.
Serving the Jackson area for over 20 years. Carlock Automotive, Van Drive, Jackson. Serving the Jackson area for over 20 years. Carlock Automotive, Van Drive, Jackson.
Thompson & Smith, the area's premier independent insurance brokerage, has been serving families and businesses in the region through its founding companies since 1927. With their many insurance company partners, Thompson & Smith provides insurance products for family, home and auto, contractors, retailers, restaurants, manufacturers, medical and dental clinics, as well as any other business or organization seeking quality coverage, risk management expertise and customer-focused service. Call them today to discuss your insurance needs.
We are back, and Chris is in the Eastern time zone, and you know how even though things happen, they get messed up. Bud Young is back on the line. He's got some important information. He's really evolved for life himself, and I know he likes the idea of the camp that's going to be held next Saturday that you can still register for at Jackson Christian School. Bud?
Yeah, I plan on being there. I hope with maybe carry a couple from Savannah up there with me, and say Jabari will be there. I've been friends with him a long time.
Well, I hope you bring Carter Smith with you next week.
I'll see if I can bring. I'll talk to him as soon as we get off the phone here in a minute.
Carter's a fine young man, the quarterback down there. You've got a big story that some of the news media, and I know even one of the Knoxville news stations, didn't deal with it until Thursday, even though it happened earlier in the week.
Yeah, we've lost two long-time members of the University of Tennessee program. We talked some about Gus Manning, and he was an outstanding person and a good friend of mine. 99 years old, seen him all. But another up there I got to eat dinner with at the spring game every year for about 20, 25 years was General Nealon's son, Bob Nealon. He passed away this week, 93 years old. He was a very humble and quiet guy. Didn't want to do publicity, interviews, or nothing. And he moved out of Knoxville for that reason. He started living in East Tennessee, then moved to Nashville as a banker where he spent his last part of his life. But there's two long-time members of the ball program that'll be greatly missed.
Bud, correct me if I'm wrong, but General Naylor's son was a pretty fair athlete in his own right, wasn't he?
Yeah, this is something. He played football and then was on the lettered as a swimmer.
Yeah.
I don't know no other football players that lettered as swimmers.
Well, I had a young man that I worked with, Miles Burdine. He did something similar to that in basketball, but he came to UT and swam on some of those great swim teams. But Miles didn't know of anybody that had ever done that on the collegiate level.
And he was tall and skinny. I sent you a couple of pictures. I might be able to post them sometime. I've got some. I'll find a Gus Manning one of that. But Gus Manning, General. He knew to come there with General Naylor. He's one of the last people that was close confidence of General Naylor. It's up there.
Absolutely. Anything else you got for us on the UT level or that folks need to know?
Well, the baseball team's coming back. We slaughtered Alabama A&M. I think it was 26-1 or something, or 23-1. 23-1. And they're coming back, and they're starting to come together. And I throw them for a loop because the shortstop was going to be one of the leading hitters on the team, Ahuna. And him not getting to play is throw the plug into the motor of the team. And he'll come back. If not, they'll find a way to do that. But
is there a chance that he will get approved this year?
Oh, I think it's just a matter of time before it gets approved. But
yeah, but how much time, Bud? I mean, everybody was talking about what a great player, one of the top players that UT would have, and now we're, what, 5, 6, 7 games into it? And
in the season. And he still don't know, and he ain't no closer to know if he's going to when he'll get to play or he'll.
But is there a phone number somebody can call and find out what's going on? Because it just seems like it's in la-la land. Nobody knows anything.
Well, it's the NCAA. I don't have. I got the NCAA numbers. I could look that up and give you the number to call, and then make them wonder why. I know all the numbers to call, and I promise you I have. I've got Greg Sankey and the Catherine Poe both know me. I guarantee you.
Bud,
because I want to know why.
Yeah, Bud, you mentioned the shortstop not being there. Fact is, this baseball team did not return a single position player from last year.
None. And the leading hitter they got back, at left-handed guy, I think they put him in center field. I forget his name, one of the leading hitters last year, but he had that hurt leg and didn't get to play a lot. And Taylor, the catcher, had the game of his life. You know, last year he had like 2 for 60 batting. And the other night he went 4 for 5, had 5 RBIs, a home run, a triple, and a single. He missed the doubles. All he missed hitting for the cycle.
What about the girls, the women's softball? I've been seeing some big numbers. And did somebody retire from the UT team?
I'll have to look that up because I haven't right now per se. I've not been keeping up as much, but I just been seeing the scores like everybody else that they've got a mighty good team, and I didn't know about anybody retiring.
Yeah, I was trying to think of what her name was.
And
I'll call like this so we'll find out.
But a couple of quick notes here. Number one, we're not going to promise you yet, folks, but there's a chance that Albert Hainsworth may be with us, who has found God, and we love him for his football, but we're proud of Albert finding God and getting his life together. So we may have him next week, right?
Oh, yeah, I'll get a hold of him this week. If he ain't got nothing planned, I'm sure you can count on. Albert's a good man, a good friend of mine. I count him one of the joys of being part of the UT program is knowing Albert Hainsworth, because he's a class act, class as he come, and probably one of the best defensive tackles that's ever took a snap at Tennessee. And I've seen a few. I've seen Reggie play and practice and stuff. So, but Albert's right there with you.
He really is. What about the women's team out of Texas? They wanted your opinion. Can the women ever catch South Carolina? And they're worried about our recruiting on the women because they've signed nobody. And I think, Jimmy, you said they're chasing transfers.
Yeah.
Right now, that's the top 2 teams in the league is South Carolina and LSU. Right now, we're playing for a number 3 seed is the best we can hope for right now. What if she can turn that in? I don't know if we'll ever get back to the days of Pat Sumner.
No. I think Pat she put a team of destiny, and now with what these other teams have done, it's kind of hard to get from the back seat of the bus to the front and trying to go over, because South Carolina is there for the real deal.
Oh, yeah, and they've got a girl. Here's something that you can't hide. They got a backup center that's 6'7".
Yeah.
Okay, how do you teach somebody to be 6'7"?
Put stilts on.
Yeah, that's about it.
That's it. But I'm saying that's the only way you can. And South Carolina has got a good coach. I don't agree with their principals, a lot of them, but she is recruiting outstanding players, and they got an outstanding team. You got to call it like you see it.
She's good at X's and O's, but I'm like you, but I don't agree with the principal. But I got to read this text because you're part of us. It says, finally found you. Great to see you guys back on the air again. Love the show. You always make my shift go by so much quicker and so much more pleasant. Keep up the great work. That comes from the Music Man, and he's a knowledgeable sports fan too, and he loves all of us, Bud, including you.
Well, that's good to hear. I just try to share. The Lord blessed me to know people that, and I want to thank the legacy of John Barnhill has put me who I am today. It's opened doors for me for college coaches and recruiting and stuff like that all across America that I wouldn't have if I hadn't done for him, and people recognize that because they thought so much of him at the Tennessee. Now I'm outliving all of the legacies that did knew him.
And see, you're part of the legacy now, Bud.
Yeah, but the Lord's blessed me to know. I met players on the 39 undefeated. Leonard Kaufman, the linebacker, captain of the 1939 team. I meet Al Rotella, George Capago, I mean, you got to pinch yourself. I met the best players that's ever played at Tennessee.
Now, what about the color man for John Ward? He would like
Bill Anderson.
Yes, sir. Where is he? Is he deceased?
Yeah,
he passed away. Yeah, he died. He probably died before John Ward did, I think.
Yeah, Ward was a magic. I mean, and then Ray Mears doing the big orange thing. He came to Lambeth University one time and did a.
I used to eat breakfast with him at Martin.
Did you really?
The restaurant, he was a character. I used to eat breakfast with him 2 or 3 times over at that place right there close to the campus on Lendl.
Yeah, they've opened that one back up.
Yeah, the Hearth is a buffet now, bud. You and I have to go up there and wreck that buffet one day.
Yeah, I've eaten with him at the Hearth. My sister worked there, and I went to see her, and there he said in there. But when he was athletic director, I believe, at UT Martin.
At UT Martin.
Yeah.
And I went up there and sat with him. We talked about earning, burning, Mike Jackson, and talked about some of the great players and great teams he had. And I appreciated all he did. And he beat Kentucky every once in a while too, and that was odd.
Yeah, they did. Bud, we appreciate you filling in for Chris Treese, who played for John Majors, and remember the camp at Jackson Christian. Hope we'll see you up there. We'll go eat because you done mentioned food now, and I'm ready to go eat.
What time's that camp start?
10 o'clock.
Is it 10 o'clock?
10
okay.
o'clock. Yeah, I think Rich.
And I'll send you one of those little brochure things down there. But the producer's telling me we got to take a time out. Bud, thank you. We're in debt to you for helping us out there.
All right, have a good day.
Thank you. There he is, the one and only Bud Forever Young. Let's take a time out. We'll be back with more on the Lightning Strike Sports Show.
Dynamics Physical Therapy, your elite provider in sports medicine and performance. Now serving communities throughout West Tennessee.
At Nest Realty Jackson, connections and relationships are at the heart of everything we do. We wake up every day with the goal of helping our agents build trust, relationships, and community. Let's connect.
Downtown is thriving and the Blacksmith Restaurant is leading the pack. From the rustic dining room to the unmatched patio, eating local with family is what we're about. Live local, eat local, relax local.
Great American Sports. Make sports an addiction. Located at 125B Old Hickory Boulevard, East in Jackson. We specialize in teen sports for youth leagues, schools, and churches. We can embroider and screen print team uniforms. We also have sports equipment, Under Armour and Adidas clothing, and anything else you need for your teen sports. You can email or call us for all your teen sports needs. Great American Sports. Make sports an addiction.
And we are back, and you're in for a treat, but let me take care of a little business first. Well, it just blanked out. We're running 2 text lines here, the same basic number, and then people do text me on mine sometimes. But reported yesterday, UT building a hotel off stadium. It will be facing the river, and we should have asked Bud. Jim, do you know anything about that? I do know that they are considering it, and it may be further. And Texter, thank you for that great information. Also, we thank the music man, and we're glad you found us. Peyton Sickler has sent one in on my phone to talk about. He says there's no such thing as pig iron. It's cast iron if they use that. Most of them are steel rims now, and we'll talk about it another date, but there is a broadcaster in town that can't seem to learn. Pig iron breaks. It's brittle, and they have to take it, turn it into cast iron, even if they use cast iron. But we're not going to dignify his comments last night or anything with giving it much credence on the show. He doesn't know what he's talking about. So there's that. Now, a man that does, Bill, before we go to the man with the plan there on the phone, very quickly, what's happening in baseball in Worthy Road Studios?
Okay, today at 2 o'clock, Union University Baseball will play a doubleheader on their campus. Union University Women's Softball at 2 p.m., it will be a doubleheader. It will be at USJ. Basketball will be Tuesday night at 6 p.m. You can watch this on Worthy Road Studio, the YouTube channel, BallGame Blitz Facebook page. So this Lightning Strike Sports Show, if it hadn't hit your house, it will. Stay tuned, powerful guest, and I tell you, this is a good friend coming up. But more than that, he's been one of those gold nuggets that you find when you begin a career at Jackson Christian. I know because I've had grandkids that have not only loved this man, but loved what he has done. And he's one of those silent heroes in life that sometimes you hear about but don't know him. So let's find out about Greg Armour.
Yeah, man. I got to sit with he and his lovely wife, two wonderful Christian people. Greg is a good influence. He embodies the heart and soul of Jackson Christian School. He's been there for 35 years. There's no job too tough or too big. Greg will tackle anything. He coaches on top of that. Jimmy looks like he's got something to add, Greg, before we bring you up.
I had a chance to broadcast some Jackson Christian football a few years ago, and this gentleman on the phone, the best statistician in West Tennessee.
I will second that, and Bill will third it. Greg, good to have you on the show.
Thank you, Bill, and Joe, and Jimmy for having me on the show.
Well, the other night you enjoyed the banquet and all of that. I'm going to go ahead and cut to the chase. I'm going to let you tell the folks, and you didn't know a thing about it, Darby Palmer, his staff, Brother Shelton, and all of the gang pulled it off good. Tell them what a big honor they gave you, and I am still glowing for your honor.
Well, Coach Palmer called me up to the stage there, and I had no idea what he was fixing to say, but he read the plaque that was presented, and it said they're going to dedicate the press box to the Greg Armour press box at Jackson Christian School.
And I get to call a game in the Greg Armour press box, a bunch of games next year. And Greg has turned into somewhat of a media celebrity. He gives us the official stats at halftime of every football game. And, Greg, how'd you learn to keep stats as good as you do?
Well, Coach, back in '87 when the program started, a friend of mine that his son played in the junior high program and high school, the coach asked did he know anybody that was interested in keeping the stats, and they asked me, and I said sure, I'd be honored to. And so that started in 1987 when the football program started.
Greg, how in the world did you play athletics or just had a passion for the Eagles? Because I know when you become a part of the family, as I have and you have and hundreds and thousands of others, what gave you the interest of high school football?
Well, Coach, I always loved football, and I went to school at Chester County. I had two godsons that played on the Jackson Christian team. One of them was playing at the time. I started keeping stats, and I just wanted to lend a hand in this program the best to my knowledge that I could.
Well, you have done a great job of doing that. Greg, you, besides working, I know you coach with the middle school crew, and you're right there with the varsity coaching staff. What other things you do? Because I will say this, I'm going to let Greg talk about it. There wouldn't be any football games there if Greg didn't do the work he does.
Well, thank you, Coach. Well, I mean, I'm involved in a day-to-day process of getting the equipment out on the August practices and getting everything coordinated for practice so that the coaches, all they have to do is come out there and start coaching the kids and get them ready for Friday night football.
Bud will like this. Greg is where UT had Gus Manning. Greg is Jackson Christian School's Manning, not Peyton, but Manning that was the coach and did all the side things that you do too. But I think Bill's got a question.
Well, Greg, as a close friend of the Nashes and my grandsons, you've seen the top of the mountain when we brought the gold ball home. It's the only one that's been brought back to Jackson. So that's got to be the peak. You've seen some tremendous athletes lately. Okay, we've got one coming up named Mosley that is as good as you're going to find on the artificial turf. Did you ever think from where you began in '87 that you'd have a field, $1 million field with Southern Capital, the sponsor?
I tell you, Coach, it was when I heard about the artificial turf, I was ecstatic. There's been many a nights on Wednesday and Thursday nights, Wednesday nights after church, and then Thursday nights that we've had to paint the field, and to sometimes 10, 11 o'clock and get it ready for Friday night. So I was ecstatic with the announcement of the turf field. It's been a tremendous help to our program.
It really has, and great thing. Are you going to be there? I just got this text in. Are you going to be there for the camp next Saturday?
Oh, yes, I'm going to absolutely.
This guy wears orange underwear, and you're asking him about a UT camp, Coach. Have you ever seen Armour on a Saturday? He's got orange shoes.
I've only seen him in Jackson Christian Blue.
No, he knows. He wears it. He wears hats. He's you got to be excited as some of the kids are for next week, right? With Joe Milton coming in?
Oh, yes, very much so, yes. I'm excited to be around these guys that I've watched play on Saturday afternoon in the past.
And Greg, this is how much I think of Greg, and he probably doesn't have his notes with it. Coming in today, my sheet with the sign-up times and registration stuff got wet, and I cannot read it. It's that wet. Can you give the folks some? Can they sign up through the school, or they got to contact the Balls for Life? And what time does it start Saturday?
I think registration is at 9 o'clock, and I think they can sign up through the school and through the website.
And I know Darby, you, or any of the other coaches would be more than glad to help them with that endeavor. It's a great camp, and Bud's talking about bringing some kids up from Hardin County to the camp.
Greg, if you look over your career and where you started and where the program, what are some 2 or 3 of the highlights that just immediately come to your mind about your involvement with maybe a player or a group of players or et cetera, that just immediately come to your mind?
Well, Bill, back in 92, when we almost went to the first playoffs, but we got invited to the Lions Site Bowl game. Matt Abernathy was our quarterback, and we won that one and finished the season 9-2, our first winning season. And then, of course, the 2006 team, we started out 0-3 and ended up finishing that year with the state championship ball that we brought back to Jackson, Tennessee.
And Greg, over your career, there's been some outstanding athletes. I guess one of the most that comes to the forefront, in my opinion, would have to be Dre Bowles, that went on to start his career at Tennessee. I think ended up going to UT Chattanooga, but there have been some great athletes come through at Jackson Christian.
Yes, Dre Bowles was an excellent athlete. He was a great young man on and off the field, and he had a good career at UT and UT Chattanooga. We've got another young man coming up, Mr. Jalen Mosley, and look forward to his next 2 years and what he's going to be able to do.
Absolutely. Greg, we are just about to run out of time in this segment, and we want you to be on again. And Paul and I've got some ideas. We'd like to get you involved. It will not aggravate the stat keeping and stuff like that. Get you a little more involved next year in the broadcast. Greg has proven to be a good media celebrity, and I think it's a novel idea, and I can't tell you what it is yet till we get all the kinks worked out of it. But it's your turn to say anything, and like I said, I'm going to be proud to say Greg Armour Fieldhouse, or not Fieldhouse, but Press Box, and I think it's a great honor, and I'll be proud to say that. But your turn to say anything to all the fans out there.
Well, I'd just like to thank the school and all the coaches. We've got now a great coaching staff at Jackson Christian, Coach Palmer and his staff. I think I'm looking forward to what they're going to be able to do this season, and I thank the fans and the school for all they've done for me.
Oh, we appreciate you. You deserve what you got, and we love you to death. Keep it going, Greg.
All right. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Jimmy.
Thank you. And there he is, a great young man, and we love him to death, and you ought to see how hard he works. We've got to take one more time out, and we've got one more special guest on an unusual show. We've had some shuffling around, got a couple of texts to deal with. And Jeff Jones, the head coach of the USJ Bruins boys basketball team, will be with us in a few moments. Let's take that time out.
turn to the experts. Since 1955, Garrett Plumbing and Heating has been the leader in plumbing, heating, and air conditioning service and installation for West Tennessee. A proud supporter of USJ Bruin Athletics, we are your local Carrier Factory authorized dealer. Call Garrett Plumbing and Heating, 668-3339, for all of your plumbing, heating, and air needs.
The BallGame Blitz Sports Network by Worthy Road Studios. With over 750,000 views in 2022, we are where you need to advertise. Please subscribe to our Worthy Road Studios YouTube channel and join the other 4,000 subscribers watching local sports, including Union University, USJ, TCA, Jackson Christian, and Peabody. Our multi-camera broadcasts include slow motion instant replay, on-screen scoreboard and graphics, and professional announcers. Thanks to our sponsors who make it all possible. BallGame Blitz Sports Network by Worthy Road Studios, the premier sports broadcast network in West Tennessee.
Thompson & Smith, the area's premier independent insurance brokerage, has been serving families and businesses in the region through its founding companies since 1927. With their many insurance company partners, Thompson & Smith provides insurance products for family, home and auto, contractors, retailers, restaurants, manufacturers, medical and dental clinics, as well as any other business or organization seeking quality coverage, risk management expertise, and customer-focused service. Call them today to discuss your insurance needs.
This could be a true story. On October 3rd, a 2003 hatchback struck and killed a deer that goes by the name Buck. I know, right? He now has Buck's head proudly displayed on his living room wall. He tells a different story.
Shot it.
No, he didn't. And to hide his lie, he took his car to Mitchell's Body Shop.
No, I didn't.
Yes, he did. And lucky for him, they made it look good as new. And as for Buck, the story continues.
We are back, and in the final segment of the show, Bill, we're going to give you a little example of the trivia, and we want you to pass the word around. We're going to have trivia prizes. We know the Pig House is in, and there's another good sponsor. Bill, go ahead and give them a little example, and we'll let you text. The text number is going to be at the bottom of the screen, so you can text into it, and then we've got a very special guest, a young man that we really are excited about having.
Joe, I've got two trivia questions. We're going to either one of them, and we're just going to get ready for next week's prize. So the first one would be, in 1964 at Highland Park, I was listening with an AM radio. This young man was a graduate of Christian Brothers High School, a very, very good catcher for really the local favorite team. He passed away at 81 years old. I want to know who he was. He was from Memphis, Tennessee, and probably the most distinguished broadcaster that we would have ever had as a baseball broadcaster. The second one happened to be a friend of mine who died this week at 89 years old, one of the top 4 or 5 basketball players in the history of Jackson basketball. He graduated in 1951 from J.B. Young. In a line one day in the summer, I asked him about it. He said it was true. He shot a free throw. He was fouled underneath the goal. He shot one left-handed. The people said, "Can you shoot it right?" He said, "I will," and he made both of them, one left-handed and one right-handed. He started off at Memphis State and transferred to the University of Tennessee at Martin. He's in the UT Martin Hall of Fame and the Jackson-Madison County, a distinguished legislator. Either one of those, I'm just trying to find out does anybody know this famous Bemis High School graduate, tremendous basketball player, and maybe even a better legislator, one of the great people of Jackson, Tennessee. He did pass away, and his beautiful wife of 62 years, Sandra, was her name, had a distinguished family. And who am I? You've got the text line of 343-9929. Then next week.
Got to put that prefix on it, 731.
731-343-9929. The monster potatoes or the beautiful barbecue from the Pig House, the Cliftons, and that will be the real prize. This is just to distinguish. You get the first award coming from the BallGame Blitz called Lightning Strikes, the sports show.
Absolutely.
I'm not
now,
eligible, but I know the answer to both.
yeah, I know that. Well, we're going to stay quiet, though. You can text it in. It's not like the radio show. We're not taking the call-ins yet. Now, we will eventually. Now, let's get to the main feature right now for this segment. Here he is. He's a great college coach, and I'll let him tell you about some of the colleges he's been with. He has come to USJ to help resurrect and has done that with the program that had gotten in bad shape, and he's done wonders to get out of there. He's articulate. He knows his basketball. He coached his team up this year, but better than that, Paul says you helped him get his equipment out to his vehicle to load up after a broadcast. Coach Jeff Jones. Coach, did you really do that for Paul?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Yes, he looked like he was struggling a little bit, so I had to, lend a helping hand.
Absolutely, and we've got. I know you're on the phone with us, so you can't watch it, but Paul's got a graphic that will come up. It's got 3 really great pictures of you. But let's go back and meet Jeff Jones first of all, up close and personal. Where'd you play your high school basketball?
Well, I played at Hickman High School in Columbia, Missouri.
I know exactly where they. Well, you are a blessed man. And then your college basketball was played where?
I played at Pittsburgh State in Kansas. Played Division II basketball in Kansas.
Well, I bet you remind me a little bit of a guy. I don't know if you've met Terrell Green. He used to coach with Dexter out at Liberty. But you and Terrell could pass for being brothers. I bet you were a bruiser and a battler on the boards.
Well, you know what? If you have a dad like mine, you better go to the glass all the time.
Absolutely. And, Coach, what got you into, of all the professions, coaching and teaching, and you've had a great track record at colleges, and tell us also the other sports you've coached besides basketball.
Well, it's basically been basketball, but how I got started was really the grace of God. When I graduated from Pittsburgh State, I was offered a job working for General Mills back in 1991. And what happened, I don't know if you remember around that time, the economy was, kind of struggling and, they were making a lot of cuts. And after my hire, maybe about a month, I received a phone call that they're going to have a hiring freeze. And you know the rule, the last hired is the first is fired or the first is let go. And so they had to let me go. And I went to go visit my mom and my old college coach. As I was waking up that morning, I heard him in the living room. And I got up and he said, "Hey, Jeff, would you like to be my assistant coach at Missouri Valley College?" And at first, I was very reluctant. I didn't really want to coach. I wanted to go corporate America, and I spoke with my parents about it, and they convinced me to coach, and they thought that that be a great career for me. And hey, in 2000 to this day, so I give a lot of thanks and to Coach Tom Pfeiffer, who ended up being the athletic director there at Missouri Valley College for, I want to say, for almost 30 years. And so that's how I started coaching.
Let me ask you a question, Coach. You were talking about college coaching, and then I watched a number of your games on the high school. What's the main difference in coaching the younger athletes versus the more mature adults?
Well, for me, it's really simplifying everything. The collegiate level, you can go in during shoot around and make some adjustments and some changes right there on the spot, or even during the game, you can make some adjustments right there on the spot. But at the high school level, I really think you have to simplify it. I think you have to really be big on your reps and being patient. And that's something that you really have to do. It's more of a relationship, I feel, when it comes to the high school kids, the collegiate kids. It's relationship, but at the same time, it's more of a business. And so I believe it's developing those relationships, helping them to develop to be good men, good husbands, and good fathers. And sometimes you have to take the wins and losses out of it. You You can't coach these guys and live and die by wins and losses. It has to be bigger than that. And I think that's where the focus has to be more so at the high school level.
Coach, got a question for you. Coming from a collegiate level, how difficult was it for a coach to adjust to not having a shot clock again?
Very, very tough. I wish Tennessee would go to the shot clock, but that was tough for me. My first year, it really helped us not having a shot clock. We really had to slow the game down a lot, and so it was a blessing. This year, it was a little tougher, especially in ball games when it's a 3 or 4 point game. And I remember playing Trinity with 2 minutes to play, and they held the ball for a very long time. Where you have a shot clock, now they have to put up shot. I think that right there is probably the toughest. When you're trying to come back, and teams are holding that basketball. But that's a big adjustment, and I wish Tennessee would go ahead and move forward with the shot clock.
Ask you another question, Coach. I watched many of the games on the BallGame Blitz and looking at packed houses and et cetera. How much difference is the home gymnasium field at USJ versus to go travel to another team's gym?
Oh, it's a big difference. I believe, my short stint at USJ that we have the best home crowds in West Tennessee, and I'm gonna go ahead and extend it in Tennessee. They are very supportive. Every game they come out. Our student section is loud, and it makes a big difference. Our guys rather play at home than on the road, but our USJ fans are unbelievable.
Coach, I got to ask you this. Name some players and stuff. You graduating some, but I thought, and I'll go ahead and say it, and we talked about it just briefly earlier in this interview, you did a good job of simplifying the game for these kids that hadn't played for you that long. You have a system you want to run, and I agree with you. I watched a game in Maryland, and they've got the clock one time. I like the clock in high school, but who are some kids that really did a good job for you? And some of your seniors will obviously be graduating.
Well, Brady Smith, I felt that he was the last 5, maybe 6 games of the season was the best player in the region. And, I know that I might be a little biased with that, but he played well. He shot the ball well. He was a leader on and off the court. He hit his free throws when it mattered, and then also Mills Terry. Mills Terry did not get the credit that he deserved. He didn't make the All-Region team this year, but he led us in rebounding, and he led us in assists, and that's a tall task when you're asking a 6'3" sophomore combo guard. And so I really like the way those two played. And then our seniors, Owen Stonecipher, what a warrior. He's our tough guy, glue guy, does all the little things for us. He guards the best player every single night. He's going to take charges. He's going to get those 50-50 balls for us. And then David Sane, the last game of the year, he really took off that last game. He played very well, 6'7" senior for us, and I wish them both much success. But we cannot leave out Raleigh Seals. Raleigh did not play last year. He decided to play his senior year, and he was a banger for us also. And so we're going to miss all those guys. And we had 4 great seniors: David Sane, Owen Stonecipher, Abe Stonecipher, and Riley Seals. Abe didn't play much, but you know what? This guy was a prime example of what a leader is all about. He never complained about playing time. If you put him in for 10 seconds, he's going to play as if he had played for 10 minutes. And great, high-character young man, and I wish my seniors nothing but the best.
Absolutely. Jeff, we got caught with, the producer tells me I've got only about 15 seconds or 20 for a break. Will you promise you'll come back on with us? We're not finished doing. There's so much, and what a good job. We want to talk about you, your team, and things like that. And we may just sit down and talk basketball with you one day. Will you come back with us?
I sure will. I would love to be on the show anytime.
Oh, that's great. I might come out and visit you, and we'll just sit down and talk basketball one day, because Jeff's a very articulate young man. Listen, we've got to take that time out, and when we come back, and Chris, thank you. We'll be back with more, Jeff. Thank you.
You are welcome.
And I tell you what we're going to do. We're not going to take the break. We've got Chris Treese right on the line, and so we don't need the break. Tell Gary to be that. Chris, sorry, we're doing a little engineering. Chris got tied up, but Chris, first of all, we're glad to have you. And I got a text, and I'm trying to rush. Jimmy, I know, and Bill's got some questions for you. They want to know, how much fun was it playing for Johnny Majors when you played at UT?
It was really fun playing for Coach Majors. You know, when back then there were a lot of hard life lessons. You know, coaches were always on you. Seemed like when you first got there, but you know, as I got older, I started to appreciate Coach Majors more, and we actually became really close before he passed away. So it was fun. The fan experience playing in front of 98,000 people in Neyland was great, and now I'm enjoying it more because I'm able to go tailgate with my wife and do things that you couldn't do when you played.
And we're talking to old number 38, and I shouldn't put the old in there. We've got a graphic up in front of us with your headshot and stuff. But March the 4th, now are you going to be in Jackson? We know that Jabari said he was, and he thought you were coming. Y'all going to have people like probably Joe Milton with the NIL athletes. I know the schedule of those can change, but can you give the fans sign-up dates, information about this March the 4th camp?
Yes, we are actually coming down to Jackson on March the 3rd. We have a life skills symposium that we're doing at Jackson Christian School in their gym. And March the 4th will be the camp. Registration starts at 9 a.m. The camp will be from 10 until 12:30. Then we'll do autographs after that. We've got some guys, like you said, that schedule can change, but Jabari Small, Javonte Spraggins, Squirrel White, some other guys that are coming. Eric Westmoreland, some of the former players will be there as well. But Jackson has always been one of our best camps. We get a lot of support in that community. So registration will end on Wednesday, this Wednesday coming up. I think that's the 1st. Registration will end. So it's only limited spots. We're almost at full capacity right now. I think we've got 140 plus signed up, and we're only doing 150.
All right, let me ask you, you're talking about Jackson, Tennessee, the great Al Wilson and Trey Teague, and, you can go on and on.
Trey Smith.
Well, yeah, I mean, you got a Kansas City Chief that's a world champion, okay,
Yep.
Played at USJ. Tell me the pride factor with this orange, what it means to you at this point in your life.
With me being a in-state homegrown product, I mean, it means a lot. I mean, being able to play and represent your home state and wear the orange and play against teams like Auburn and Alabama and Kentucky and Vandy and Florida, I mean, it means a lot because the number is so small. You don't have a lot of guys that can make it to that level. And, I still pinch myself today when I'll go into my bonus room or I'm out somebody and somebody will ask me for an autograph. It's just so surreal because I know that I played, and when you're 18, 19, you kind of take it for granted. But now that I'm, my age and hadn't played in over 30 years, I really appreciate it. And it's, I sit back and I think I really played in Neyland Stadium. I really played on that field, in that iconic stadium, with some of my great teammates. And I've got a team. My roommate has 2 Super Bowl rings with the Cowboys. Alvin Harper played with them forever. But going back and watching the games and seeing all the orange and seeing all the former players and current players, it's an honor to have played.
Chris, you look back at your time at Tennessee. Coach Majors, I guess, had just really probably got that program headed in the right direction by the time you came along, and went on to build to what happened a few years later with the national championship. But kind of surprising that I guess times have changed, but the time factor that they allowed Coach Majors to get that program turned around there at Tennessee.
You don't have that anymore because we're in a microwave society. You know, what can you do for me now? Coaches get fired after 3 seasons now. After, you know, they can go to the playoffs 1 year, and then 2 years later they're fired. With Coach Majors, I think he was allotted a lot of time just because he played at Tennessee. He was an All-American. He was a proven coach at Pitt. So they were going to give him time to build that program because they understood that they needed to have something special. And Tennessee hadn't been really successful since General Neyland. So, you know, time was on his side, and I'm glad that they afforded him a lot of time because I came in right after the Sugar Bowl victory. And then, you know, we won back-to-back SEC championships, and it really launched the program, I think. But, yeah, coaches don't get a lot of time nowadays. So it's, you know, universities, because of all the money that is spent and because of the new NIL and, you know, everything, the financial piece of it, universities want coaches to win now, and it's a high-pressure job.
And, Chris, you look at the job that Josh Heupel has done this early period of his career at Tennessee. It has to make you, as a former Vol, proud to see just how he has basically resurrected that program here in the last 2 years.
He really has, and I've known Josh for the past 6 years. I met Josh years ago when he was at UCF, so I knew when they got hired they were coming up here because they called me. But it's he's done a tremendous job. I'm glad that he's had the early success because that's going to help with recruiting, and it helps with a whole lot of other things. So with them winning the Orange Bowl this year, obviously the economy in Knoxville is a whole lot better. And quite honestly, it helps us as the Legends of Tennessee nonprofit organization because people want to see these current players as we travel to these other cities.
Chris, we went overtime because the public here feels that important. Matter of fact, we got a text, and even if before next year, before the camp, we want you to come back and be on with us and just talk football, and then we'll talk camp some. But Chris Treese has a lot to say, and I know you have a great message. And correct me if I'm wrong, I believe you've written a book, haven't you, that is quite informative.
I have. I've actually written 2 books. One is called Driven. It's about how I grew up and overcoming adversities and overcoming obstacles. And the second one is Balls for Life. It's about my signing class at Tennessee in 1986. We've probably had one of the greatest signing classes in UT history. There were 22 of us, 15 went pro, and we had 4 first-round draft picks. That has never happened again. So it's a big book, 430-something pages. You've got all the coaches in there talking. I really enjoyed the project of putting that one together.
That is great. Now, will you come back, though, and we're going to make you promise on air you'll come back and be with us again?
Absolutely. I appreciate the time, guys. Thanks for having me on, and I would love to be on again.
Well, before you run, remind them what all you got going. And the Friday night session, is it a closed session or is it still open to people too?
It is still open to Life Skills Symposium. They can go online at legendsoftennessee.org. Those tickets are $20 at the door. The camp registration, like I said, will end. Both registrations will end on Wednesday, but it's going to be a big time. Guys can come and people can come and listen to the current and former players talk about their time and their journey to the University of Tennessee, what's going on now, how the kids can, do what they need to do to get to that level. So it's a very informative platform, and then obviously the camp the next day.
Absolutely, Chris. Very good interview, but the reason we want you to come back, we already know you've got more to say, and so does Jimmy and Bill, and you were worth. And for the texter that text in, will you please get him back? Yes, we will. He has agreed to it, and maybe some of us. Now, did you say you are going to be here next Saturday, Friday, and Saturday?
Yes.
Well, maybe
Yes.
we'll get to see you. I may come by the Friday night session if I'm not broadcasting a ball game that night, and we'd love to see you. And like I said, we're going to hold you too coming back on the show, though.
Absolutely, guys. Anytime, just let me know.
Thank you, Chris, and thank you for being on with us.
You're very welcome. Thank you, guys. Have a great day.
Okay, you too. Great guy. Bill, I think you got some stuff you need to tell them still, even though this show is over for the future, and Union University is going to play softball and baseball.
Yeah, Joe, I will. And we do have 2 new advertisers. People
That's
are jumping
right.
on board,
Yeah.
okay? I'm going to tell you that Fleet, I got it right.
That's a mouthful, tongue twister.
Fleet on Orwell Drive, they'll start next week.
Oh, I know about the kind of shoes they got.
You got big boy shoes that you wear from them?
Shoes, they're the best.
Okay.
They are
and
the
this
best.
is around town. Everybody knows at the corner of the bypass. They talk about Red Hook.
Yes.
You come at Red Hook. If you're not full when you leave, something's wrong. You need to turn around and go back in.
I have eaten
Red
there several
Hook
times. Matter of fact,
Cajun
Wednesday,
seafood.
Susan and I, well, it wasn't Wednesday, it was Tuesday. We have eaten there and love their shrimp. Now, my buddy Joe Gracie loves their scallops. So.
Well, they got everything, and the lightning strike has just struck 2 new advertisers. But
Plus
today,
our trivia, folks.
Union University baseball. It will be at 2 p.m., a double hitter. Softball at the USJ field. This is Union University softball, a double hitter at 2 p.m. And Tuesday night, 6 p.m., University basketball, men's and women. And today, you can go back and watch on Worthy Road Studio, the YouTube channel, BallGame Blitz on the Facebook. Joe, it's been a great show, and I think we had a trivia answer. Didn't we get somebody that knew who it was?
Yes, we did. But I forgot to do one thing.
You didn't tell them who?
Tell them you have to put your name on the trivia thing so we can give you the prize.
Well, there's no prize today, but
Not
I will
today,
tell you.
but next week, and we'll have all the instructions for you. You don't want to miss trivia. Jimmy Butler?
I got to give the answer, Joe.
Oh, that's right, the answer. Jimmy knows that. Let Jimmy do it.
No, we're
You're
not doing
gonna
that.
Jimmy
I'll let him do the Memphis answer.
Oh, okay.
But
Tim
the J.B. Young, 1951 high school, the player that was so great, and he signed my book that was written by Gene Pierce. I asked him to, Portraits of Jackson. He made a left-hand and a right-hand free throw. Never heard of that again. Played at Memphis State, UT Martin in both. Joe Nip McKnight.
Now, wasn't his dad a great basketball
Marvin
player, too?
McKnight. Yeah, they were equal. Now, let's see. Nip averaged 24 points one year without a three-point and 21. Now, Jimmy, everybody knows Memphis, Tennessee, Christian Brothers.
Tim
Who was it?
McCarver.
Tim McCarver.
Tim McCarver.
Personal catcher for who? Which pitcher?
Steve Carlton.
No, and then Bob Gibson said he walked out there one time and said, "What are you doing on the mound?
Yeah.
You can't hit."
Had a chance to have at a former radio station. We had the chance to interview Tim McCarver at the bookstore here one night.
You
for
were
a
absolutely
2-hour
right,
show.
Jimmy. We did a remote from down
From
there.
talking to Tim McCarver.
Tim McCarver. And
he was a dynamic
a gentleman.
baseball announcer, maybe the best. And what about Kerry going to do the St. Louis Cardinals game? What a turnaround from the Braves. And I didn't know Dabney Swanson signed a free agent with the Cubs.
Yeah.
I missed that
I'm
completely.
hurt because I thought the world.
You're a Braves fan.
I know. I'm a Braves fan. I was hurt
I know,
that he
but
left.
most of us are St. Louis Cardinals, Joe.
Yeah, like I said, Kerry, I knew eventually he had returned to his roots in St. Louis.
Okay.
And don't forget, next week you'll be able to catch this show not only on Worthy Road Studios YouTube page, the Worthy Road and BallGame Blitz Network. There, you will be able to get it on Facebook too, and we'll see what the results are. Guys, any final comments? Something we left out? Thank all the texters, and y'all were great today. Oh, there was one more text I think that we didn't get. A very informative program today, gentlemen. Thank you to that texter.
Well, Joe, we're going to continue to grow and grow and grow. You'll not find this anywhere else. The information is going to be spot on. You may not agree with us, but we're going to give you an opinion. I can guarantee you that.
Absolutely, Jim.
And like I said, a great weekend as far as high school basketball concluding, getting ready for the state tournament, SEC basketball winding down, SEC and local high school and college baseball just now getting started. So, hey, one season ends and another one begins.
And again, thanks to all the texters. Two men that make it happen. You don't see very much of them. Is Gary Lockhart and Paul Schultze. Gary, our producer-director. Paul is the executive producer and director and owner of Worthy Road Studios. And without him, these things and all the nice graphics and stuff are not possible. You see that nice graphic up there. We appreciate Paul. This is a copyrighted broadcast. Any broadcast, retransmission, or further use of this contest without the express consent of the BallGame, Blitz Sports Network, and Worthy Road Studios is very prohibited, Lake County. There's a gentleman in Lake County who likes to kind of tiptoe around those rules, but it is expressly has to be in writing if you use any of it. You can go back and watch these. They are archived on YouTube. They will be there until the end of time, and we hope you'll go back and watch them. Tell people about it. The network is growing and growing and growing, but it's time to say, for Jimmy Butler, for Big Blue, Bill Hamilton, Coach Joe Holloway, thanks for your time this time till next time. Good day, all.